Hi guys, another wonderful day, and here with me is the General Secretary of the National Union of Ghana Students in the person of Anthony Julius. Before we jump into the main purpose for which we are here, I'll first of all want him to introduce himself properly so you get to know him. Yes.
Noah, you know me already. I'm Julius, call me Anthony.
Yes.
I'm the General Secretary of the National Union of Ghana Students.
Okay.
A former student of the University of Ghana.
You've graduated.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, so today we are talking about the UTAG Strike. What you need to know as a student of the University of Ghana, and not just the University of Ghana, a student of Ghana. Yes. So the National Union of Ghana Students, what is happening with the UTAG Strike?
Well, the UTAG Strike is actually a problem, and it's a situation we shouldn't be having if the parties involved, that's government especially, had taken these issues seriously from the onset to try and deal with them. This issue should have ended somewhere last year. Okay. So it's a challenge, and you know, the students are struggling at this moment because of that UTAG strike and idleness of students. One level 100 guy was lost in the UG pool. There was an accident also in KNUST, yes, where another level 100 was also lost within the same period, and we think it's a problem that it's high time we got over it.
Okay, so what is the position of NUGS on this particular strike?
Well, we feel that government has been a bit unfair in dealing with the lecturers, yes, over the period. Last year, there was a strike. The general public called on UTAG to withdraw so that we completed the last calendar. And they reached certain agreements. One of those agreements was that they wanted a copy of the labor market survey which government was supposed to conduct, okay, by end of 2021. And the lecturers want that because they want to know their fate to the extent that the payment of the market premium, which is due certain professions, is concerned. But unfortunately, government had not been able to meet the timeline, and that is the reason for which the lecturers went on the strike.
Okay, so when the strike started, you know, around January, we saw your president call on government to show seriousness and to, you know, attend to the needs of UTAG. Fast forward, the recent press conference you had, that one showed you, I mean, you NUGS having a more neutral posture. What went into that? What brought the change?
Now, here are the realities of the issues. For an organization like NUGS, yes, for you to be able to sustain a conversation and advocate, it must be based on the facts of the matter and truth.
Okay.
The facts are simple. UTAG went on a strike simply because they didn't get a labor market report, okay, a survey report. That is the reason for which they went on strike. And part of the demands they are making include adjustment to what do you call it, market premiums. Okay. So they had agreements in 2012 that government would pay them what we call interim market premium. Yeah. I'll explain what the premium is about also. Interim market premium, which eventually they froze because government didn't find the need to keep paying something we were supposed to be interim. Okay. And then eventually now the lecturers are demanding that government should return them to that interim market premium, and pending the implementation of the market survey report, the new one, okay, which government doesn't want to do. The reason why government doesn't want to do that is that the 2013 conditions they are demanding is 111% of their base salary. Okay. It means that if a lecturer is getting, for example, 6,000 cedis, he will get 111% of the 6,000 cedis addition, okay, as the premium. Do you understand?
Yes.
Which means
higher than the salary.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is the situation they are putting government, and we have a situation where wages and salaries alone finishes our tax revenue. Okay. So government is in a hard spot when it comes to that. I'm not mounting a defense for government, but they're in a hard spot when it comes to that. Then there is a second issue of the fact that premiums are non-negotiable. The law is clear. The single spine salary structure which lecturers are on is clear that premiums are at the prerogative of the employer, okay, which means government decides whether or not they want to pay premiums. So lecturers can negotiate their base salary, lecturers can negotiate their research allowances and all those things, but under the law, they are not entitled to negotiate the premiums.
Okay.
Let me take the opportunity to explain what the premium is about. When they introduced the single spine salary structure, government realized that there are certain professions or skills that are very essential, and for that matter, they need to motivate those in that profession, okay, so that more people will be willing to join. For example, surgery, dentistry, professorship, that's lectures and all that. So when government gives those incentives, the law makes government to have the prerogative of determining who to give it to and when to give it, because there may come a time where the skills that are desperately needed are now in abundance. Okay. So government would have to now withdraw the payment of the premium. Do you get the picture? Yeah. So that is why it is non-negotiable. So if NUGS, for example, should take a position that we are forcing government to return to the payment of the 2013 conditions, it will be irrational. Okay. We will not be making a logical debate, because NUGS is supposed to promote the law, okay, as well, and all those things. So we are in a tight corner when it comes to that.
So you feel that what UTAG is doing is not right?
We feel that for UTAG to want to determine, what premium they get, it's outside the law. That is what we feel. But there are other issues. The reason why we were demanding that government should take UTAG seriously is that, yes, the law says so. However, in labor conversations, there's an issue of mutual respect between employer and employee, okay, for dialogues to go on. We have a situation where UTAG members go and sit down at the ministry sometimes. They want a meeting. Then the consequential officers, so for example, if the issues have to do with money, Minister of Finance, Minister for Education, or probably the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations, and then representatives from Fair Wages and Salary, are supposed to sit in that meeting, you realize that in place of the Minister for Finance, they designate somebody. Okay. In place of the Minister for Education, they designate somebody. I'm not saying those are the exact officials that designate people, but I'm giving you the example. Then at the end of the meetings, those people who have been designated will now tell UTAG members that, yes, we heard you, we understand everything you said, but it is not up to us to take the decision, right, and all that. You can't keep treating people like that. So why should they keep sitting in inconsequential meetings? That is why we felt, yes, the kind of treatment they were getting was unfair. If there's anything to be spoken about, the consequential officials should sit down so that if there's a dialogue, okay, there's an agreement, they can reach it.
What is your personal position on this matter?
Well, my personal position is that, you see, the lecturers are making these demands to the extent of forcing government to go to the 2013 condition because their current conditions are not good. Okay. So the best thing for government to do is to find adjustments in other areas, which they tried to do. The allowance, for example, the book and research allowance, for example, they tried to adjust it. The base salary, is it enough? No. Government should find a way to improve on these conditions so that lecturers wouldn't have to be forced, to go on strike, so that government implements a 2013 condition which they themselves agreed to freeze. Okay, so if you agree that some of these things are not right, and that is why the lecturers are on strike, then why then does NUGS, take a different stance on this? When you know that clearly the lecturers are demanding something that is right. No, why did you take a different stance? No, don't be mischievous. We didn't take a different stance. Okay. The stance we took is reflective of the facts of the matter. But you in person, yes, you don't seem to belong solely to the stance of NUGS. No, well, yes, I have my differences when it comes to a lot of things, but I feel that in this particular instance, okay, the issue is that you would have to deal with the matters as a whole. You can't isolate one individual on one party and side with them. If we are to deal with the issue strictly, the declaration of the strike, for example, is truly unlawful, as stated by the NLC. Okay. Because they didn't follow the procedures as stated in the law. But here's an issue that must be fundamentally understood. The fact that something is lawful or is permitted in the law is not always, should I say, right, to do that. the people are on strike because they feel their conditions are not good. The state or government must be the bigger person in that kind of conversation and make room for dialogues. So if you are not making rooms for dialogue, you keep putting the attitude I mentioned that they will go and they bring inconsequential officials and all those things. They will definitely feel bullied and go on strike. So that is why I feel that the NLC, for example, taking UTAG to court was unreasonable, because government created the conditions for people to break the law, which is not fair to them. So if you drag them to court after doing all those things, you are not fair to the issues, you are not being fair to the students who are consequentially being affected by the issues. All the same, yeah. As an institution which is supposed to stand for truth at all times, we cannot ignore all those, the breaches in the law and all those things, and just say that UTAG is outrightly right, or there's nothing wrong with their approach to issues, and then we just go on one side. I don't think it's something we should encourage.
But do you think being neutral adds anything to the conversation? Do you think, by not taking a stance to, support this or that, makes your contribution to the conversation very valid?
Yes, it does. The reason why it does is because at the end of the day, there are two parties acting on basis of, UTAG, for example, goes on strikes because they want to hold students at ransom, and because government bears ultimate responsibility for students. So they want to hold students at ransom for government to give them what they want.
So don't you think there's a way we can break out of this?
I think there's a way we can break out of it, and that conversation is ongoing. We give several advices to the sector minister, that's the Minister for Labor and Employment, and we give similar advices to the Minister for Education, some of which have been followed through. Here's the point. A salary structure, when it is done, it places different professions on levels of salary payments or wages that are due them. For example, the single spine has tiers. Professor is on, I think, tier 26 or 27. And then other professions are like that, doctors, etc. What happens is that if you adjust the payment of one person because they are on strike, and you adjust it, in ways that do not fit with the structure, you automatically have to adjust it for other professions as well, for it to fit into the structure. So government is in a tight position when it comes to that. Then comes an issue of other avenues of making sure that they get better conditions, which can be explored without necessarily disrupting the system. And that includes, internally generated ways of giving the monies, like allowances, which can be paid from the internally generated fund and all those things. Those are part of the recommendations we made. The minister met the Vice Chancellor's Association, they call it Vice Chancellor's Ghana, yesterday. The fundamental reason for that meeting is to get the Vice Chancellors to devise some means of, increasing certain allowances or even creating new ones, so that the gap that the lecturers feel exists in terms of their income, for which they want the restoration of the 2013 conditions, would be filled without necessarily disrupting the single spine salary structure. So you see, if you are working with an organization like NUGS, you have to deal with these realities. The ordinary student doesn't have to deal with these realities. Or party foot soldiers who will want to call you names and all those things don't have to deal with those realities.
To this. Is NUGS partisan?
Well, NUGS as an institution is not a partisan institution, but the actors, for example, if you elect somebody to a NUGS office, there's no clause in the NUGS constitution who says that if someone is affiliated to a political party, don't elect the person. So you may end up electing a person who is a party faithful or has affinities to a political party, but the institution itself is supposed to act non-partisan.
So as we speak now, do we have such situations? I know, if I'm not mistaken, your president is affiliated in one way or the other to the ruling party, and you are in the opposition party, the NDC. Has the partisanship influenced your position on this strike issue?
No, I don't think partisanship has ever influenced my position on any of the matters. The strike issue, for example, if I was partisan about it, I could be blind to all the issues that I feel that UTAG is not doing right, and decide to focus on all the issues that the ruling government is not doing right, and drum those issues rather, and decide to take a position against all the other people. And I've been known over the span of these 8 months to have the louder voice, so I could have been, I could have taken that tangent, but I didn't because of the realities of the issue. There were times where I took different stance as opposed to theirs, and it has nothing to do with partisanship. I don't know if you remember the issue about the Ghana School of Law issues and all those things. I took a completely different perspective from all the rest of them. Other executives supported that position who are not necessarily affiliated in the direction that I am.
Okay.
Pius Theophilus Bedu, David Hughes Devereaux, Grace Ohema Bediakon, what do you call it? All of them supported my stance on that issue. They are not necessarily affiliated in the same line as me.
Have you come into a situation where you had to take a bribe or something like that since you
are saying this because they are accusing me of taking bribe to keep quiet on the UTAG issue. Is that
something that we must address? Have you taken a bribe since you came into office?
No, I have not. But are you saying, because yes, it's been in the space. Kevin Taylor was also saying all manner of things about me, taking those issues because we are in a pocket of government and all those issues. But you see, if being in NUGS office was about doing party bid, I don't think that you would even find the institution of NUGS attractive. For partisan people, there's only one language they understand.
Okay.
A language that, demeans their opponent and praises their side. That is the only language they understand. And I understand very well if those who affiliate on my side feel that I am not feeding them that language.
Okay.
Fair enough. If I leave this office, I could feed them that language. But so long as I'm in this office, the language I speak must be the language of the realities on the issue and how they concern students and how we can solve it. If I speak partisan language, it would not solve any issue at the student front here. For example, if I should allow partisan language to infiltrate the UTAG issue, for example, how would I be able to reasonably have a conversation with the minister and tell him that, Honorable C, since within the limits of the law you can't just adjust this, then you should look at internal means of doing it. How will I be able to have that conversation? I wouldn't be, because from scratch I would only be focused on how things should be trouble for him, which is not the way to go, because in the end of the day it won't work for the students. The lecturers wouldn't come to the classroom. So we can't speak partisan language on everything. And you see, these same people who accuse me of taking bribes to keep quiet on UTAG matter, which I actually didn't even keep quiet. I didn't keep quiet. I just didn't speak the language they want to hear.
Okay.
These same people were very happy when I took a principled position on the Ghana School of Law issue, which some way, somehow,
so people
they
feel
felt
that because you stood very firm in that particular matter, and you didn't keep mute. But this time around, you happen not to be too active, not to be talking too much. They feel because you have, something is in your mouth.
What is in my mouth? It's because of the facts of the issue.
Okay.
It's because of the facts of the issue. And let's look at this. If taking bribes was my focus, I could have taken it from my people instead. So I go and make noise. In that case, I get the applause of the side I am with, and then I still get the money in my pocket. I should have taken it from them instead and made the noise.
But so we've seen. You issued a communique or a letter. You brought a letter out, distancing yourself from a group of students who wanted to organize a demonstration, and they added your name as one of their communicators. Is it the case that you had initial plans with them, but later on decided to change your mind, or they just, felt that you could add something to the conversation? That is why they brought your name in.
As to whether or not they feel I could add something to the conversation is something you would have to ask them. But one thing is certain, is the fact that at no point in time did I have a conversation with any of the people involved in the coalition of what do they call it? coalition of concerned university students. What about that? I would be a communications officer on their behalf. At no point in time have I made any such commitment to them. Now, here are the ways I look at issues at the student front. I feel that I have been elected by people who want me to represent and speak their minds and at all times work in their interests, and they have given me a particular office in which I should do that. Do you understand the picture? So if I am supposed to do student advocacy, so long as I am in the office of General Secretary, I should do it in the name of the National Union of Ghana Students. That is all I think. When the law school issue came, as you rightly referenced, the president disagreed with me. When I called the press, he notified them not to come. But I insisted they should come. I have a story to tell. I have something to say. When I was going to petition Parliament, he is a chief spokesperson. Ordinarily, he should, make inputs into that document. He should append his signature, at least. He didn't. But I proceeded to do it in the name of NUGS, not a new coalition. So I feel that forming new coalitions outside of where we have been elected to, what does it say of the unions we belong to? Does it mean that the unions in their own capacities can't solve the problems? Because we've been elected to particular offices which are supposed to do the same things we claim we are doing outside.
You kind of tried to say that this is not the time for us to put students on the road to demonstrate.
Yes.
And that you feel that that is a last resort that should be used. Don't you think that this issue has been dragged for quite so long, and if there is any last resort that we think can give us results, we should be adopting it?
It's been dragged for 4 weeks, Noah.
It started last year. We had part of it
last year. Last year, which we managed to mitigate. But the immediate issue we are talking about lasted for four weeks. 4 weeks is a long time when it comes to academic discourse. I agree with you.
Yes.
But as to whether or not we have gotten to that point where we are supposed to, disband all conversations, disband all convincings and all that, and storm the streets, I still feel and I still think that we have not gotten there. I'm telling you, if we had gotten there, it wouldn't be up to me, Julius Anthony, to determine whether we should be on the street or not. If we had gotten there, I wouldn't be able to step out of this hall. The students will come for me.
How long do you think it would take us to get to that point? So
we have not gotten there. But you see, I don't think we should even get there. I told you we proffered certain solutions. Those solutions are being, jointly worked towards.
What happens if those solutions do not pull through like we expected?
Yes, if those solutions do not pull through as we expected, there is no way we are going to sit down for schools to close. The President of the Republic must act, and then I feel we would be at the point to, march to him and make our voices heard.
Okay.
Yes, that for the schools closing is off the table for us. If we get there, we would have to march to him to speak on the issue.
Here, we do not know what is going on. Students, are doing a whole lot of things.
But we are your representatives. Yes. We know what is going on, and we are telling you it has not gotten to the point where you have to be on the street.
Okay. In your current release, the recent one, you called on the lecturers to return to the classroom and to go back to the negotiation table. No,
don't say that. Don't say that way. You might be misleading. We gave conditions in our recommendations. One, the NLC must withdraw their suit from court, because what we have noticed is that there's a lot of ego play. Okay, you are a minister. You want to show us that you are a minister, we will also show you. That sort of mentality.
That was clear.
What I'm trying to say. So we are saying that, first of all, the NLC, as independent as they may say it is, to some extent, in these particular conversations, are acting as though they are agents of the government. That is why we are saying that they should demonstrate good faith, withdraw the case from court. When they withdraw the case from court, then our appeal to the lecturers is that, yes, they have demonstrated good faith, withdrawn the case, now sit with the parties.
But that is where I'm coming
and have a conversation with them.
You said they should, withdraw the case from court. And now the lecturers should also consider calling off the strike and returning to the classroom, then they go back to the negotiations table. But this same thing happened last year, where they had to call it off, and your president even commended them. I mean, in his one of his releases, that they showed good faith by calling off the strike and returning to the negotiation table. But if it happens, or now that it has happened that they went back and they were not able to get any results, do you think it is better or proper for you to tell them to go back to the same table they went to negotiate on and they didn't get results?
Now, let me tell you, if we say that lecturers didn't get results, you know, in absolute terms, we'll be sounding unfair. This is why I say this. Lecturers got some results. They didn't get everything they wanted. The lecturers negotiated their research allowance.
Okay.
In the last time they engaged on the UTAG issue, they negotiated their research allowance. And their research allowance initially was an insulting figure of 1,000 cedis a year. Which is not fair to them at all. But they managed to increase that to 6,000, eventually to 8,000, then it will be capped at $6,000. That's where it will be pegged at. So subsequently, they'll be taking, what do you call it? The CD equivalent of $6,000 annually for their research, which in my opinion is still not enough though. What proper research would you want lecturers to do with that? But if we say they didn't get any result, these things changed. What they are premising their current strike on is the labor market report, which for me, I like to be very blunt about the conversation, which for me, I feel is because some lecturers are not satisfied with the content of the report and the kind of policy that could be formed based on that report. Do you understand? That is why I wanted to explain what a market premium and all those things is initially.
I think you did.
Yeah, so the market premium is given to motivate, you know, scars. So I've not read the report, but the signal I get is that some of them may not have the kind of premiums they would like to have. But premiums are not entitlements. So that is why they want to be restored to the previous one and be getting that before, if they will form a new policy on this one, it is done.
Yes, so
that is what I'm saying.
There is no new one for them to work on. If they are demanding to go back to what they used to be on, is that too much to ask?
As to whether or not it's too much to ask, I can't tell. But as to whether or not within the law, they could determine to get premiums or not. No, they are not the ones to determine whether they get premiums.
Yes, NUGS General Secretary, that was a very fruitful conversation we had there. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, over the past 8 months that you've been in office, we've seen NUGS do a whole lot of things. How does NUGS finance those activities?
Yes, within our constitution, we are supposed to finance our activities from student dues, which is 1 Ghana cedi per student all over the country. Unfortunately, our systems have, I don't know how we ended there, have become such that your administration only gets that dues at the end of the administration. So the Jihad-led administration, for instance, got their dues at the Congress that elected me. So initially you would have to pre-finance almost all your activities or get donations or, you know, get monies from partner organizations. For example, Get Fund, SLTF, etc. Get Fund is one of the institutions that came out of NUGS activism and all that. So there's that established relationship. So Get Fund helps with the activities and all that. So that's how we manage it. But most of the things, you would have to put your hands in your own pocket if you want to keep moving. You know, going about the country, all those things, you would have to pay your own transportation, you'd have to look after all those things.
Because of this strike, if not only because of this strike, you come under so much attack.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of students are attacking. People feel that, you know, you have not been very proactive. How do you keep moving in times of difficulties like this?
Well, I feel that it's a hazard that's attached to the job. You can't always be the hero, and as I said, being a NUGS executive, you get to deal with the actual realities of the things on the face of the paper, and you don't only have only students attacking you. You have partisan artists who feel that you should always speak their language, attacking you as well. But as an individual, you must build credibility. And credibility means that sometimes you would speak on popular opinions.
Yeah.
And that is why we are here. So for me, it doesn't matter. It can be depressing sometimes, feeling that you wake up early in the morning and because of these people, because of these same people who are insulting you, Dr. Educhum will say meet him at 8 a.m. And you know, meeting Dr. Educhum at 8 a.m. at the ministry, moving from Legon, for example, means that you would have to wake up somewhere around 4:30 and start preparing. You do all these things, no pay, nothing. But the same people you do it for sit on social media and call you all manner of names. It's depressing, but you have to just keep going. You have to just keep going, and that's how
where
we manage
should
it.
we be expecting your next move after NUGS? What else? What next? I mean,
Well, I'm handing over and I'm going into silence on student issues. I think service is that simple. You have a term. When you finish it,
do you think
you move
silence will
forward,
do us a lot of good? Don't you think we will still need your experience on, you know, a lot of matters?
The students are going to be electing new people.
No, but you
So
have been through the system, so we will by all means need you.
Oh,
so
I think
saying you go into silence doesn't mean we are going to miss your, you know, your activism
well,
and everything.
Well, here's the thing. I think the transition period provides a long time within which I would build some relationship with whoever will be winning the General Secretary, whoever will be the 55th NUGS General Secretary. And I think wherever there's any need for advice, yes, I would give that individual. But to speak outwardly on the issues, the mandate is gone. So I allow whoever is there to do it.
Aside the hard part of you know, your work that we see, what has been the juicy part?
The juicy part, as in the benefits you get from the office. Sincerely, is the social capital.
Okay.
It's the social capital. NUGS affords you the opportunity to sit at tables that the ordinary student may not be able to sit at. That's it to it. If you want money, don't become a NUGS executive. You'll be shocked. There are a lot of people who think that once you're a NUGS executive, you have a lot of cash and all that. If you want money, don't become a NUGS executive. But the social capital, you will build it. You build it. And then NUGS executives have opportunity to combine their national service as the duty they are doing. Yeah. So you don't need to necessarily do it. But I have decided I will do national service at a different place other than the NUGS office. So I don't get that sort of benefit as well. So
yeah,
that's
so what message do you have for students? I think our time is up. What message do you have for the students out there?
Well, I would just want to tell students who follow us, who believe in our leadership, that yes, there are those times that we would not necessarily speak the kind of voice you want to hear. It does not necessarily mean that the individuals you've trusted have changed. What it means is that sometimes there is something fundamental that you may not be privy to. So at best, it's to lend your ear to get that understanding, not to chastise us, not to go to social media and call us all manner of names. If I was taking bribes with my office, I think by now I should be fine. I should even not have time to do anything, but I wasn't. So guys, let's keep on going. I think hopefully next week will not end with UTAG on strike. I can guarantee that.
Okay.
Yeah, next week.
That'll be a lot of good news for us.
Yeah, next week will not.
Or you say it will be bad news.
Oh, well, there are a lot of students who even like the strike.
To go on.
Next week will not
strike.
Next week will not end with UTAG on strike. Vice Chancellor's Ghana would pull through for us the way we asked them to. So we are hopeful. Next week will not end with
so that was the NUGS General Secretary there. He says next week will not end with UTAG on strike. And so if you are in the house, you should be considering packing your bags and finding a way to get back to campus. If you don't have accommodation, maybe you have to start working on something. If not, it will take you by surprise. And so that was a very fruitful conversation. Once again, thank you very much for staying with us up to this time. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so. Thank you very much.